Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, just hearing those opening notes, that bat signal cutting through the dark, it just pulls you right back, doesn't it?
Instantly. You're right there on those rain-slicked streets of Gotham, 1989.
Exactly. For so many of us, this wasn't just a Batman movie. It felt like the Batman, the definitive one for a whole generation.
It really did solidify a certain image, didn't it? Dark, brooding, almost mythical.
But how did this huge movie, this cultural event, even happen? It wasn't a smooth ride, was it? And what makes it still feel so important, even now? Let's really dig into it.
Well, that's what's so fascinating, right? When you look back, it's amazing how many things had to struggle into place to create something that felt so new, so revolutionary at the time.
Especially that tone, that dark, serious feel.
Absolutely. It was such a sharp turn from the campiness people associated with Batman on screen before then. So our mission today is to pull apart how it all came together, the production battles, the core ideas, how people reacted then, and why it still matters so much.
We're drawing on film history, production notes, interviews, a real deep dive.
We want to unpack those key moments, those surprising twists that really made Burton's '89 Batman this massive turning point, not just for superheroes, but maybe for Hollywood itself.
And it really was an uphill battle from day one. It's funny, you look around now, superheroes everywhere, but back in the late 70s, Batman wasn't exactly flying high.
No, definitely not. His popularity had really waned. He was sort of in the wilderness, creatively speaking.
And the ideas studios were kicking around, they sound kind of wild now. Like someone seriously pitched a movie called Batman in Outer Space.
Can you even picture that? It just shows how far the perception had drifted from his, dark detective origins. Almost a joke.
But that low point, maybe that's what created the opening. For something different.
Exactly. A vacuum. And that's where Benjamin Melniker and Michael E. Island came in. October 3rd, 1979, they bought the film rights from DC Comics.
With a very specific vision.
A mission, really. Island said it perfectly. To make the definitive, dark, serious version of Batman the way Bob Kane and Bill Finger had envisioned him in 1939. A creature of the night, stalking criminals in the shadows. That was the goal.
Bringing him back to his roots. But trying to sell that idea after decades of the lighter stuff, Hollywood wasn't biting, was it?
Oh, not at all. They got rejected flat out by Columbia, United Artists. The studios kept saying they wanted the Adam West style, the 60s TV show. That's what they thought Batman was.
So how did Island react?
He didn't just give up. He actually wrote his own script called Return to the Batman, specifically to show them what he meant, the dark tone, the serious approach.
And that was before things like Miller's Dark Knight Returns comic came out.
By 6 years. It really shows how ahead of the curve Uslan was, pushing for that gritty take way back then. He saw the potential long before it became mainstream in the comics.
So then John Peters and Peter Guber got involved around November 79. They'd seen the success of Superman in 78 and wanted to replicate that, right?
Yeah, they saw the potential for a major superhero franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But even with them on board, they pitched it to Universal and got another rejection.
Still hitting brick walls.
But they had serious belief. Get this. July 1980, at the Comic Art Convention in New York, they publicly announced a $15 million budget for the film.
Before they even had a studio lockdown.
Exactly. No distributor, no green light, just pure conviction. It was an incredibly audacious move.
Wow, that takes guts.
And it worked. Eventually, Warner Bros., who'd had all that success with Superman, finally saw the potential and agreed to produce Batman.
Okay, so the foundation is there, studio's on board, but getting the script right, that was another whole battleground, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The scripting journey was almost as tangled as Gotham's alleyways. It went through so many different versions.
Like that early one by Tom Mankiewicz, The Batman, back in '83.
Right. That one focused heavily on Batman's and Dick Grayson's origins. It had Joker, Rupert Thorne, Silver St. Cloud, very much inspired by that classic Steve Englehart comic run, Strange Apparitions.
They even brought in Marshall Rogers, the artist from that comic, for concept art. So they were serious about that specific influence early on.
Definitely. And Mankiewicz had some interesting casting ideas back then. An unknown for Batman, William Holden for Gordon, Dave Niven as Alfred, Peter O'Toole as a Penguin described as a mobster with low body temperature.
A penguin with a low body temperature. Okay, well, Holden and Niven passed away before it got made anyway, so that became moot.
True. But it shows the kind of thinking early on. And directors were circling to Ivan Reitman, who apparently wanted Bill Murray as Batman and Eddie Murphy as Robin.
Whoa, okay, that's a very different movie.
And Joe Dante was attached at one point.
Yeah.
That script, Mankiewicz's, went through 9 rewrites by different people. 9. Mostly still drawing on strange apparitions.
Even Wes Craven was considered to direct early on. That hints at some tonal confusion, maybe?
It was definitely a struggle to define what the film should be. But the big shift came when Tim Burton was hired, right after his success with Pee-wee's Big Adventure in '85.
And he looked at Mankiewicz's script and thought,
Too campy. Didn't have the edge he wanted. So his girlfriend at the time, Julie Hickson, wrote a whole new 30-page treatment trying to capture Burton's style.
and this is where those influential comics really came into play, right? The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke.
Exactly. Their huge critical success kind of proved to Warner Bros. That there was an appetite for a darker, more serious Batman. Burton himself, though not a massive comic fan initially, read them and was really impressed by that psychological depth, that grit.
So the studio finally saw the dark and serious angle Uslan had been championing for years was actually viable.
Pretty much. The timing was perfect. It aligned Burton's vision with something the studio could now see as potentially commercial.
So they brought in Steve Englehart again in '86 for new treatments, still based on his comics.
Right. His first pass was packed, Silver St. Cloud, Robin, Joker, Thorn, even Penguin. But he realized it was too much. His second treatment later that year streamlined it, took out Penguin and Robin to focus the story.
Which then opened the door for Sam Hamm to come in and write the actual screenplay.
Yes. And Hamm, being a comic fan himself, made a really key decision. No traditional origin story.
He wanted flashbacks instead, right? To keep the mystery.
Yeah, showing the whole process, Bruce Wayne becoming Batman step by step, would totally destroy your credibility. Keep him enigmatic.
Makes sense. And he made other changes too, swapping
did.
characters.
Big ones. Silver St. Cloud became Vicky Vale. Rupert Thorne became the new character, Carl Grissom. And Dick Grayson, poor Dick Grayson, got cut down to just a cameo role.
Wasn't there a scene with young Gordon on the night the Waynes died that got cut too?
There was, yeah. A really poignant moment from Hamm's script, but it ended up just being a quick newspaper photo in the final film. Shame, maybe.
But Hamm's script generally went down well. Bob Kane liked it. It was even getting bootlegged.
Yeah, it built this underground buzz. People were excited. And finally, after Beetlejuice hit big in '88, Warner Bros. Gave the official green light for pre-production.
But even then, the fans weren't entirely convinced, especially about Burton and the casting.
Oh, that's when the real storm hit. Burton directing. Okay, maybe weird after Pee-wee. But Michael Keaton as Batman, the fans went absolutely ballistic.
Hamm explained it well, didn't he? People heard Burton and Keaton and just thought, comedy, camp. The exact opposite of what the film was trying to be.
They just didn't buy the dark and serious promise. The marketing tried, but the damage from that initial perception was huge.
So they brought Bob Kane on as a consultant, kind of as reassurance.
Pretty much, a seal of approval. Although it's important to remember Bill Finger, the co-creator who did so much foundational work, still wasn't credited on the film itself. That only happened much, much later in 2016.
Right, a long overdue correction. So that casting, finding Batman, was a real process. The studio wanted a big action star.
Totally. They were pushing for, the Mel Gibsons, the Kevin Costners, Charlie Sheen, Tom Selleck, Harrison Ford, even Bill Murray again, Dennis Quaid, a huge list.
Pierce Brosnan turned it down, saying he wasn't interested in playing a comic character. Ouch, hindsight.
Yeah. Probably kicked himself later. But Burton, he actually wanted an unknown originally. He even thought about Willem Dafoe for Batman, not the Joker, despite what people sometimes say.
So how did Keaton happen?
It was John Peters' idea, apparently. He saw Keaton in Clean and Sober and saw this edgy, tormented quality. Burton knew him from Beetlejuice, trusted his intensity, and agreed.
And that's when the fan mail started pouring in, the negative kind.
Pouring is an understatement. 50,000 protest letters. It was unprecedented. Even Kane, Hamm, and Uslan were apparently worried at first. They thought, oh no, here comes the 60s show again.
But Keaton took it seriously. He started The Dark Knight Returns.
He did. He really dove into that darker side of the character, determined to prove everyone wrong. Which, he arguably did.
Okay, so Batman was controversial. What about the Joker? Was that easier?
Well, lots of names were floated. Tim Curry, David Bowie, John Lithgow, Ray Liotta, James Woods. Burton actually wanted John Glover.
Another great character actor.
Right. But the studio insisted on a big star. Robin Williams really wanted it, lobbied hard. But they had one name in mind from the very beginning.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. He'd been their top choice since like 1980. Peters approached him back in '86 during Witches of Eastwick. And unlike Keaton, Nicholson was pretty much universally seen as perfect casting.
And he knew it, right? His contract negotiations were legendary.
Oh, yeah. He drove a hard bargain. Strict demands. Top billing, obviously. A big slice of the profits, including merchandise, which was huge. And a specific shooting schedule.
Didn't he need time off for a Lakers game?
Yep, that was in there. He initially wanted all his scenes done in 3 weeks, though it ended up taking over 100 days.
And he took less money up front for a bigger cut later.
Smart move. He cut his fee from $10 million to $6 million. But that percentage deal reportedly netted him over $50 million, maybe even up to $90 million in the end. Plus, top billing on everything. Master negotiator.
Wow. Okay, what about the rest of the cast? Vicky Vale wasn't Kim Basinger a last-minute replacement.
She was. Sean Young was cast first, but she had a horse-riding accident just before filming.
Yeah.
Peter suggested Basinger. She flew in, and bam, she was Vicky Vale.
And Michael Gough as Alfred? Burton was a fan of his Hammer horror work.
Big fan. That's why he cast him. And Robert Wool as Knox the reporter. He was supposed to die originally.
Really? By Joker gas?
Yeah, but the filmmakers just like him and his performance so much they rewrote it to keep him alive. Nice save for Knox.
And Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent. Burton wanted him specifically so he could play Two-Face later as an African-American actor, right? Exploring that duality.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
Williams was apparently pretty disappointed when Tommy Lee Jones got the part in Batman Forever. And Nicholson even got his friend Tracy Walder cast as Bob the Goon.
Bob the Goon. Memorable henchman. So what happened to Robin? There was an actor cast.
There was Ricky Addison Reed. But ultimately, Warren Scarron, who did script rewrites, cut the character from the final shooting script. Bob Kane agreed. They felt Robin was just irrelevant to the plot at that point. Focus on Batman and Joker.
Makes sense for this story. Okay, let's talk Gotham.
Right.
That city design is just everything.
It really is. Burton hiring Anton Furst as production designer was key. Furst had done The Company of Wolves. Burton loved it, and they just clicked instantly. Furst said they were totally in tune, visually, spiritually.
And Furst's idea for Gotham. Deliberately ugly.
That was the word he used. The ugliest and bleakest metropolis imaginable. He imagined New York without planning, run by crime, this clash of styles, an essay in ugliness, as if hell erupted through the pavement and kept on going. Intense.
Where did they draw inspiration from? Not Blade Runner, apparently.
No, they actively avoided Blade Runner, wanted their own look. They looked at old photos of New York by Andreas Feininger, Japanese architect, Shin Takamatsu, even Terry Gilliam's Brazil was an influence. Very distinct.
And the Batmobile, another icon.
Designed by Julian Caldow, sculpted by Keith Short. Those machine guns popping out. First called it pure expressionism, inspired by 30s Salt Flat Racers and 50 Stingrays.
Built on an Impala chassis, because the others weren't tough enough.
Pretty much. Needed that heavy-duty base.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jeff Dunham, the comedian, actually bought one later and put a Corvette engine in it to make it street legal.
No way. Okay, the Batsuit, that was a challenge too, right? Making Keaton look imposing.
Huge challenge. Bob Ringwood, the costume designer who turned down James Bond for this, had to make an average-sized guy look like this bigger-than-life creature.
And Keaton found the suit itself difficult. Claustrophobic.
Extremely. He really struggled with it. But Burton thought that discomfort actually helped the performance, put him in that dark, Batman-like mood. He used it.
Burton wanted all black, which Kane liked, but Peters wanted Nike logos on it. Seriously.
Apparently so. Early days of aggressive product placement discussions. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Ringwood did incredible research, though. 200 comics, 28 sculpts, 25 capes, 6 cowls. Cost a fortune, like $250,000 just to develop.
And fans complained initially, because it wasn't tights.
Yeah, they missed the classic look. But Burton insisted tights just weren't intimidating.
And Joker's look. That permanent white face.
That was Nick Dudman, the makeup designer, using this acrylic Pax paint. And again, Nicholson had approval over who did his makeup written into his contract. Total control.
Okay, so they've got the cast, the look, then filming starts. And it sounds like it was intense from the get-go. Secrecy was paramount.
Absolutely. They filmed at Pinewood Studios in England, partly to avoid the Hollywood media frenzy.
Yeah.
Huge production, 80 days main unit, 86 days second unit, 18 sound stages, massive 51-acre Gotham backlot.
They used real locations, too, like Nebworth House for Wayne Manor.
Yeah, Nebworth and Hatfield House, plus some old power stations for the industrial grit. But the budget ballooned from $30 million up to $48 million.
And they were really trying to keep things under wraps. Someone tried to buy Joker photos. Footage got stolen.
Yeah, the publicist turned down £10,000 for early Joker pics. And police got involved when about 20 minutes of footage vanished. It was high stakes. Burton himself called the shoot torture, the worst period of my life.
Oof. And the writer's strike in '88 didn't help. Ham couldn't do rewrites.
Exactly. So Warren Scarron came in. Others did uncredited work. It was kind of chaotic script-wise during filming. Ham blamed Warner Bros. For the changes later. Burton seemed a bit more philosophical about it.
And that's when Robin was finally cut for good.
Right. Scarron took him out. Kane agreed. Streamlined the plot.
Keaton, meanwhile, is trying to figure out how to play this guy, using his comedy background for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, for those awkward moments like the dinner with Vicky. But he was also a logic freak, worried about the secret identity being too obvious. He suggested contact lenses, things like that.
And the voice. That lower register for Batman, that was his idea.
That was Keaton. A deliberate choice to separate Bruce from Batman. And yeah, you hear echoes of that in Bale's performance later, don't you? Became part of the Batman toolkit.
Definitely. Now, that climax, it was originally much darker. Joker kills Vicky.
That was the plan. Batman goes full vengeance mode. But John Peters apparently just changed it, without telling Burton. Commissioned that huge, expensive cathedral model.
Wait, without telling the director, how does that even work?
Blockbuster filmmaking. Burton was furious. He tells that story about Nicholson halfway up the cathedral stairs asking, "Where am I going?" And Burton had to admit he didn't know because Peters had taken over that part.
That's insane. Just pure chaos.
It really highlights that tension between the director's vision and, producer interference or studio demands.
Yeah.
A constant battle on big films.
Okay, shifting gears to the sound. Danny Elfman's score. Iconic doesn't even begin to cover it.
Right. Burton brought him in, gave him Dark Knight Returns to read. Elfman was apparently a bit intimidated by the scale, but wow, did he deliver.
Peters wasn't keen at first, though.
Nope. Wanted someone more traditional. But Elfman's opening theme demo apparently blew him away and changed his mind.
But then Peters and Goober wanted pop songs, too. Prince for the Joker, Michael Jackson for Romance.
Yeah, that was their big commercial push.
Yeah.
Elfman was supposed to blend it all together.
Burton must have loved that.
Not exactly. He protested, said his movies weren't like Top Gun. He wanted the score to be the atmosphere, not just background for pop hits. But Prince did end up doing the songs, encouraged by his manager.
Elfman got Shirley Walker and Steve Bartek to help with orchestration.
He did. Beefed up the sound. But Elfman himself was apparently unhappy with the final mix, blamed non-caring English technicians.
Still, it resulted in 2 huge soundtrack albums, right? Prince's songs and Elfman's score.
Yep, both massive hits. And Elfman's theme, of course, got adapted by Shirley Walker for Batman, the animated series, becoming just as legendary there.
Let's dig into the themes. Burton called it a duel of the freaks. That feels central.
Absolutely. He saw it as this fight between 2 disturbed people. That was the core for him.
And he saw Joker as having this kind of awful freedom.
Yeah, because he's an outcast, a freak, he's outside society's rules. Burton said, insanity is in some scary way the most freedom you can have. It's a pretty dark take on liberation through madness.
While Bruce Wayne is trapped by his dual identity, hiding the reality.
Exactly. Ken Hankey saw Batman in the film as more of an anti-hero, operating outside the law to deal with someone like Joker, pushing boundaries.
And Kim Newman suggested they're like opposites, reflections of each other, their origins intertwined.
Right, the dramatic antithesis. The film really leans into connecting them personally, making their conflict much deeper than just hero versus villain.
And Gotham itself, visually, that Art Deco expressionist nightmare.
It's a pure pulp and German expressionism. Richard Corliss in Time compared it to Cabinet of Dr. Caligari in Metropolis. He said Gotham was like another character, this oppressive force staring down at people.
Ken Hankey thought it felt like a period piece, like 1939.
Yeah, the black and white TVs.
Yeah.
It has that timeless, yet specifically stylized feel. He even thought making Vicky Vale more of a femme fatale could have pushed the film noir homage even further.
And there are nods to Hitchcock's Vertigo in the climax, too.
Subtle ones, yeah. And the cathedral sequence adds another layer of cinematic texture.
Okay, the marketing. Batmania. How did they even create that buzz, especially after the casting backlash?
Well, the logo was genius. That simple, mysterious, gold and black bat symbol, designed by Anton Furst's team. It wasn't like other action movie logos. It was enigmatic.
And Peters kept tight control on tie-ins. Even turned down GM money for the Batmobile.
He did, because GM wouldn't give up creative control. That showed serious commitment to protecting the film's specific look and feel, even over big bucks.
But the masterstroke was that first trailer, wasn't it? Rushed out at Christmas after bad press about Keaton.
Totally. Peter saw the negative reports, panicked slightly, and just threw together raw footage, no music, and got it into theaters. A huge gamble.
And people loved it.
They went nuts. Applause in theaters, huge buzz. It completely shifted the narrative. Suddenly people saw the dark tone, the cool visuals, and the Keaton complaints started to fade. It showed, didn't tell.
Then Batmania just exploded leading up to the release.
Oh, it was everywhere. Merchandise sales hit $750 million before the movie opened. Kevin Smith talked about how you couldn't escape the bat signal that summer. People were cutting it into their hair. It was insane.
Even the novelization was a bestseller. Burton himself got annoyed by it all.
Yeah, he wasn't comfortable with the hype machine. Some critics, like David Handelman, called it less a movie, more a corporate behemoth, all about the marketing.
But when it opened, wow, the box office numbers were staggering.
Record-breaking. $2.2 million just in late-night previews, then $40.49 million opening weekend. Smashed the previous records held by Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters II.
Took the #1 spot, gave Nicholson his biggest opening ever.
Held that Nicholson record for 14 years. Second weekend was massive too, $30 million. Fastest film ever to hit $100 million just 11 days.
And the final total?
$411.6 million worldwide back then, which was enormous. Highest grossing Warner Bros. Film for years. Highest grossing DC film until The Dark Knight. Highest grossing superhero film until Spider-Man. Huge.
Plus home video sales. Box Office Mojo figures over 60 million tickets sold in the U.S. alone.
Just a monster hit.
Yet, Warner Bros. Claimed it lost money. $35.8 million in the red.
Hollywood accounting. The classic example. They pile on overhead, distribution fees, interest. Suddenly a massive hit looks like a loss on paper, so they don't have to pay out net profit shares.
That's wild, and that affected Melniker and Uslan later, didn't it?
Big time. But we'll get to that. So critically, generally positive, but some thought it was too dark. Isn't that what they wanted? Kind of ironic, right? Rotten Tomatoes has it at 77%, saying it's great dark entertainment, but maybe Joker overshadows Batman. Metacritic score is 69, generally favorable. Audiences gave it an A cinema score.
But yeah, a common observation was Burton seemed more into Joker and the visuals than Batman himself.
And fans definitely had issues. The Joker killing the Waynes, that was a big one. A major change from the comics. Ham confirmed that was Burton's idea, done during the strike.
And Alfred letting Vicky into the Batcave, that felt wrong to many.
Ham joked that should have been Alfred's last day on the job. And the Prince songs, great as they were, felt out of place to some within the film's world. Even Burton wasn't thrilled with how they were used.
Burton's own assessment was pretty blunt, wasn't it? Mainly boring to me.
Yeah, called it okay, but more a cultural phenomenon than a great movie. Maybe just exhaustion from the shoot. Or maybe he genuinely felt that way.
But Keaton's performance, despite the early hate, ended up getting praise.
Generally, yes. Critics like Berardinelli liked it, though he preferred Batman Returns. Variety said Nicholson stole every scene, which was a common take.
Roger Ebert wasn't a huge fan, though, called it depressing.
He admired the design, but felt it was style over substance. Yeah, a plot you can't care much about. But Gene Siskel completely disagreed, loved the adult approach, the acting, the whole psychological world it created. Polar opposites.
It definitely divided people on an artistic level. Okay, legacy. Awards first. It won an Oscar. Yeah.
Just one, but a crucial one. Best Art Direction for First and Peter Young. Totally deserved for creating that Gotham. Nicholson got a Golden Globe nomination, 6 BAFTA nods, but no wins. Some Saturn nominations, too.
But its real legacy is how it shaped the superhero genre, isn't it?
Undeniably. It directly led to Batman, the animated series. Bruce Timm said flat out their show wouldn't exist without this movie. It set the dark Art Deco tone for that whole DC animated universe.
And it basically created the template for the modern, serious superhero blockbuster.
Pretty much proved it could be done dark, complex, huge budget, A-list stars, massive profits. Burton joked he was responsible for the trend of dark and serious superhero movies. It also kicked off the original film series, leading to Returns, Forever, and Batman and Robin.
That legacy wasn't all smooth sailing, though. Melniker and Uslan sued Warner Bros. Over profit.
They did, in '92, claimed they were cheated out of their involvement and money through that Hollywood accounting. Despite the film making billions overall, Uslan said he hadn't seen a penny more.
Did they win?
The judge rejected the suit, but Warner's offered a settlement later. Their lawyer famously called the offer 2 popcorns and 2 Cokes. It just highlighted how broken that system could be.
Scott Mendelson wrote about its wider industry impact too, right? Changing how movies are made and marketed.
Yeah, he pointed out how Batman accelerated things like the focus on opening weekend numbers, the shrinking theatrical to video window, the rush for pre-existing IP for merchandising targeting that PG-13 rating, and even opening doors for less conventional casting in blockbusters. It even prompted a new age rating, 12, in the UK.
And its place in the canon keeps growing. AFI recognized Batman and Joker as top heroes and villains, nominated for Best Film lists.
And that quote, "Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?" nominated for Best Movie quotes. It's permeated pop culture.
Plus, it's now officially part of the DC multiverse, Earth 89, thanks to that Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover with Robert Wool showing up as Knock.
Yep, and then the big one, Michael Keaton actually coming back as Batman in The Flash, decades later. That just cemented the enduring power of this version.
The story continues in other media too. Video games back in the day, comic book pitches.
Right, some rejected pitches. But then DC finally did the Batman '89 comic series, written by Sam Hamm himself. Continuing the story, bringing in Robin, Catwoman, finally letting Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent become Two-Face.
And a sequel series, Echoes, with Batgirl, Scarecrow, Harley Quinn, referencing unmade movie ideas.
Seems like it. Plus, now there are official sequel novels, too. Batman Resurrection came out, set between the first two films, exploring the Joker aftermath, bringing in Max Schreck.
And another one, Revolution, is planned. This world just keeps expanding. And that early, cheap VHS release back in '89 really helped cement it in homes everywhere.
Absolutely, made it super accessible.
So, wrapping this all up, what's the takeaway? This movie was more than just a hit.
Oh, definitely. Contentious casting, groundbreaking design, that insane marketing blitz. It really was a cultural earthquake. It changed how Hollywood saw blockbusters, especially comic book movies. Proved dark could sell, and sell big.
Yeah, connecting it to the bigger picture, it showed superhero stories could be complex, profitable, attract serious talent. It really paved the way for everything that came after, didn't it? Not just in film, but comics, animation, games.
Its influence is still felt today. It legitimized the genre in a way that hadn't happened before on that scale.
So a final thought for everyone listening. When you watch superhero movies now, think about it. What parts of Burton's '89 Batman do you still see? In the heroes, the villains, the cities? And maybe what does that essay in Ugliness, that chaotic Gotham, really say about the characters living within it, and maybe even about our own urban landscapes?